In the latest blockbuster and yet completely obvious news, there is reporting from Mediaite that many elected Republican leaders secretly want Donald Trump to lose. And I have to tell you, they are completely correct in their assessment. I want to talk about this with you. The article reports several and by the way, just riddled with ads, this website, several longstanding elected Republican lawmakers are secretly hoping that the party's nominee, Trump, is defeated. According to Politico's playbook, some within the Republican Party are keen to move on from Trump, even if they'd never admit it publicly. And according to the outlet, this is not just your usual never Trump crowd. Key individuals have relayed concerns in confidence, including free marketeers who don't like Trump's tariffs, pro-life lawmakers who don't like Trump's pro-choice remarks, and defense hawks worried about his stance on NATO. But maybe more importantly, there's a strategic aspect to this. Politico reporter Jonathan Martin wrote, the best possible outcome in November for the future of the Republican Party is for Donald Trump to lose and lose soundly. Republican leaders won't tell you that on the record. I just did. This is a completely correct assessment. As I've said before, and many people call in and they say, what happens to the party, the Republican Party, if Trump wins versus if Trump loses? We don't know what's going to happen in November. Trump may eke out a win electorally. We just don't know yet. But we know that Trump has been very bad for the Republican Party. Since eking out a win in 2016, Republicans underperformed in the 2018 midterms, even relative to what was expected. Trump lost in 2020. The 2022 red wave failed to materialize, and Republicans actually Democrats expanded their control of the Senate. Since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, thanks to Trump's 3 Supreme Court picks, we've seen loss after loss on various ballot referenda related to those issues. It's been disaster after disaster. The best way to get away from this MAGA Trumpism is for Trump to be soundly defeated in 2024. I know different people disagree as to whether he'll run again in 2028. I do not believe that he will. And then it will allow the Republican Party to go in a different direction. If Trump wins in 2024, this all gets extended. And then you have the real possibility of a MAGA type candidate in 2028, not Trump, but someone else. And it continues and it continues. If Trump loses, you get the opportunity to rebuild with a clear break from Trump's destruction of the party. Craft some new image, if you can, that will maybe be more appealing to voters. Reduce the internal conflict. The Republican Party, I mean, look, you've got some of the children of the late Senator John McCain, a Republican, saying, I'm voting for Kamala Harris. You've got all sorts of different Republicans. You had Republican officials who even spoke at the DNC. There is massive internal chaos right now. Trump losing could reduce the Republican conflict, end the debate over should we or shouldn't we go with Trump, move on and go to something more cohesive. It would allow them to reevaluate their electoral strategy if indeed Trump loses, where we have these situations now where Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona are these lost cause states. Republicans now regularly win Ohio and Florida, but that doesn't seem to actually guarantee that they can win electorally. They need a rethink of the electoral strategy. And with Trump, you're just locked into what it is right now. That's another reason. Bring in new leadership, pave the way for new leadership with a Trump loss, and get away from these pseudo-Trump sycophants and the overt Trump sycophants. Just get away from all of them and maybe get back to running on policy rather than personality. Honestly, I don't know whether the Republican voters want that. What we do know is that the way they've been running on personality now for a while, the MAGA types in 2022, Trump in 2020, it's not really been great for them. They've lost and lost and lost and lost. Maybe get away from the personal controversies and the personalities and try to find a way to come up with some policies that will appeal to the broader electorate. Now, I'm not giving them advice. I hope they continue losing. What I'm telling you is that the instinct that the reporting says is there among the Republican leaders that Trump is bad for us and it would be better for him to lose. That very much seems to be the case. Let me know what you think. Are you having trouble sleeping or staying asleep? Sleep is one of the most important foundations of mental and physical health. And our sponsor, Beam's formulation called Dream, is a delicious nighttime hot cocoa drink with melatonin, clinically proven to help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. Melatonin can also help correct circadian rhythm disturbances, get your sleep schedule back on track, for example, in jet lag situations. Dream comes in great tasting flavors like mint chocolate chip, chocolate, peanut butter, sea salt caramel. I love the cinnamon cocoa version. No sugar added, sweetened with monk fruit, just 15 calories per serving. Dream hot cocoa it's just a nice way to wind down before bed. It's hot and flavorful. It's not overly sweet. It's a soothing way to relax about an hour before going to bed. Go try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder and get 40% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman. The link is in the description.